Hi guys, this is Ron and welcome to the first in our series of weekly live TV broadcasts, of which we still don't have a name for. I'm going to call it live web TV, but you got to tell us what you think we ought to call it. So we're looking for your submissions on that. And I'm going to stand here and do a different lesson every single week. And if you'll title it for me, I'll come up with the lessons, but I'm telling you now that they're going to come from your input. So there's two things I'm asking you to do, because this is a two-way street. I want you to tell me what the title should be, and we'll award a prize to the winner. And I want you to constantly be keeping us fed with subjects that you would like for us to do a seminar on for you every single week. Now, I've got several questions, which I am not going to be able to get to all of them. I'm going to take 2 or 3 questions that I picked out of the pile that I think will appeal to most everyone. So let's deal with that for a second before I go any further. If you're going to submit me a question, it has to be in a sentence format, not in an essay format, okay? It's got to be a question that I can read and answer, and if it applies only to your single particular situation, I won't do it in front of the camera for the benefit of the rest of the members. If I think there's a message that will apply to the rest of the members, I might pick it out. I'm going to only do a couple of questions every single week live. Now remember, we are answering your questions online, but for me to bring them in here, they got to be applicable to all. So get me your questions, but that's not the same as getting me the subject matters that you would like for me to do a seminar on. Now today's seminar is going to be about determining the market value of a property, because so many people are having trouble with that due to the pressure from the bank-owned houses out there. So I'm going to do the best I can on that, and then I'm going to answer a couple of questions for you, and that'll be it for today's lessons. I'm trying to keep these things short, yet powerful, and loaded with information that you can use. So let me get started. There's 3 main things that go into determining the market value of a property, or comps as we call it, comparables. Comps is slang for comparables, and CMA, or comparable market analysis, is how you will determine the ARV. First, what is ARV? ARV is after repaired value. Don't ever forget that. I could care less about as-is value. It means nothing to me. I only want to know what the ARV is. The after repaired value is the only number I need to base my offer on, because frankly nobody knows what the as-is value is. It's a wild guess anyway. So we can determine ARV because we're only comparing to properties that sold arm's length at retail price, and that's a point right there. Maybe that'll help you. When you're determining the ARV, you're going to have to go somewhere where you can get some comps, someplace like Zillow, or I use RealQuestPro.com. RealQuest, Q-U-S-T, Pro.com. There's a whole bunch of them. In fact, go on Google and put in residential real estate comps, and it'll pull up you a whole bunch of websites that you can go to and get comps. Most of them are free, but I use RealQuest Pro because it's got a lot of good information on there, but I have to pay for the usage. So if you're not ready to pay for the usage, then go get one of the free ones, but you've got to be able to pull up comps. So what I'm doing here today is trying to equate you with how to recognize a comp when you see it and ignore all the rest. So back to the point. Well, you cannot use what are obvious bank-owned property sales as comps. You have to move them out of the pile. We're only looking for properties that sold arm's length to owner-occupants, not bank-owned properties that were sold under distress. I'm looking for an arm's length sale, therefore I can't use a distress sale to compare it to. So the first thing you want to do is take your list of sales and pull all the bank-owned sales out of there, all of the foreclosure sales, the ones that were sold at auction or whatever, and get them out of the pile. And that's where you want to start. And then we're only dealing with the rest. And we're looking for 3 things. Number 1, we have to have a recent sale. That means we cannot take a sale that happened a year ago and compare it to a market sale today. So when I look at the comps, I must know when they were sold. And if I don't know when they were sold, I can't use them. I've never seen a comp source that doesn't tell you the date of the sale, but I want it to be as close as possible. So if I'm in January, I'd like for that comp to have been sold in the last 3 months if possible. I'm going to take the ones that are the closest to today and use them, and ignore the ones that are further away in time. If in fact you can't find any recent sales, then you have no choice but to go back further in time. But if your market has gone down, say, I don't know, 10% in the last year, then you're going to have to just kind of adjust downward the best you can and use the most recent sales to compare to yours. So I'm in January. If I had one sold in September, that's fine. But if I had one sold last February, I don't like that one. I'm going to look for other properties. So the closest in the most recent sales are the first of the group. Secondly, they have to be close in square footage. In other words, you can't compare a 1,000 square foot house to a 3,000 square foot house. It just does not work. So I'm going to be looking for the properties that sold recently that are closest to my size, which any comp service can pull up for you. It'll automatically adjust to size and recent sales. It should automatically pull up the ones that sold the similar square footage and the closest to today. And I'll do that for you. You don't really have to put in those parameters. And if you do, you need to change comp service because whatever you're using sucks. Any of them will pull these up for you. But you've got to look at them and determine which ones to compare to, which is the whole purpose of this video. So if I've got a 1,200 square foot house, I usually don't want to be more than 20% more or less. And that's the number, 20%. So can I compare 1,200 to 1,500? Yes. Can I compare 1,200 to 2,000? No. No, I can't. And don't fall into this trap. Don't fall into the square footage multiplier trap. If I got a 1,000 square foot house that sold for $100 a foot, I can't take $100 a foot and apply it to a 3,000 square foot house. It does not work that way. The 3,000 square foot house is likely not going to be worth as much per square foot as the 1,000 square foot house. Could be more, could be less, but you just can't do the square foot multiplier that way. All right, and the third thing up here is it has to be recent sales square footage. It has to be close in proximity, which means I can't take a house on this side of town and compare it to one on this side of town. And in fact, I don't even like taking one on this side of a main thoroughfare and comparing it to one on this side of a main thoroughfare because it might be two totally different values of subdivisions. So I'm going to look for the properties that sold the most recently. They're the closest to my property and they're the closest in square footage. And those three things are going to be my biggest determining factor. Now, I've got a map here that I pulled off of RealQuest, and in fact, I'm going to try to get Lauren to put this up on the screen for you here when we broadcast this video. So if she got that done, you'll see this same map in front of you here. In the meantime, I'll bring it up here real close just in case that it doesn't happen. It will happen, right, Lauren?
It will happen.
Okay, all right. Lauren says it'll happen. But I'm going to point to this while we're doing this, and then hopefully you're looking at one you get a better view of. But if you'll take a look at this map that I pulled off of RealQuest Pro, you'll notice that here's a map of the area, and my subject is right here. The subject has no number in it. It's just a red star. But you'll see all of my comps pinpointed around the map right there. Now, obviously, the first thing I'm going to do is look at is my subject, and I'm going to look at the ones closest to my subject. For example, that house right there, I'm probably not going to compare to that house up there. I'm looking for some closer because this could, in fact, it tells you down here how far apart they are. So on this one map, it tells me the addresses of my comps, which are located up here with numbers. Number 1 down here compares to number 1 up here. And then it tells me when it sold, how much it sold for, and the square footage in the house, and how far away it is from my house. So right there it is. Recent sale, yes, they're all within a few months. Square footage, they're all very close, and close in proximity. They're all close in proximity, but some are further away than the others. So again, I want the most recent sales, the closest in square footage, and the closest in proximities. And frankly, this one page right here is all I need to take a look at my comps and do an instant analysis of what the ARV is on my property. So I know there's a lot more to it than that, and I don't expect you to be an expert after that video, but this much I'll tell you, you've got some good news for you, that I'm going to be doing a webinar shortly on how to determine market value with some visuals, and I'll do some comparisons so you can see a lot more than you could on this video. But I hope this gives you a good start. Just remember, get rid of the bank-owned properties, or you're never going to come up with a good ARV. Also remember this. ARV is not necessarily your sales price, and probably isn't. ARV is our after repaired value that we think that we would appraise for if we hired an appraiser. You cannot assume that you're going to sell it for ARV. In fact, you should assume that you're not going to sell it for ARV. All right, so that's the end of that lesson for today. Let me get to a couple of questions today. And as I got a lot more of them than I can answer, so I'm just going to go through a few of them here for you. This one is from, let's see who this is from. I've got to hunt it down on here. Marianne Nunez. Marianne, thank you. You submitted a lot of questions here, and so I'm going to pick this one out of here and answer it for you. It says, I once did a lease option with a tenant buyer, and the deposit check that I got from the tenant buyer the day I gave her the keys eventually bounced. Well, hey, yes, Marianne, I have been to that seminar, so the answer is very simple. You never give the keys to anyone to move into a home until they have funds that have been proven. In other words, cashier's check, certified funds, money order, or cash for that matter. But what I normally do is I make them take the cashier's check to the attorney's office, since he or she's closing the lease purchase, and let them handle the funds, and then they cut me a check out of their escrow account. So obviously, you say out of your own words, you've learned that lesson, don't need to learn it again. Never turn over the keys till you get negotiable funds. Okay, this one comes from Eddie Kearns about getting private money, Eddie. Eddie says, I've been in real estate for over 20 years. I have perfect credit, but right now banks won't have anything to do with me. Great deals to be had all around, but no funding. Well, Eddie, there's great funding all around too. You're just looking in the wrong rabbit hole to find it. Eddie goes on with a long explanation of how he's approached people and they haven't been able to loan him money. But here's what I read from this, Eddie. I read that you're approaching mortgage brokers and professional lenders. Don't do that. If you want to get private money, you got to approach people, ordinary, everyday people, not professional lenders. And there's $4 trillion in individual banks out there right now that you can capitalize on. But it is true, you have to learn how to approach them and what to say. Now, good news for you, Eddie, and good news for everybody watching. All Gold Club members are about to have a site posted that will attract private lenders for you. I've created a site to attract private lenders for my own benefit legally. Whether you know it or not, you cannot openly advertise for private funds or private money. So we're giving away a CD, which I'm furnishing on this site to you, and it's about how to get a high rate of return on your money, but it's not about we're trying to sell them anything, and that leads them into a letter that lets them contact us if they want information about private lending. So you're going to love this thing, and I'll probably do a webinar on it just to teach you how to use that. We expect to have that up as my Valentine's Day gift to you. So Gold Club members, if you're interested in raising private money, I get it, we're on it. Okay, and while we're at it, let me tell you what we're also on. We're also on providing you proof of funds, because members are contacting us. Ron, I can't go to an auction, I can't make an offer in the MLS unless I have proof of funds. No problem, I'm going to provide you proof of funds. We're setting up a website for you where you can just go drag off a proof of funds letter, absolutely no charge, no extra cost. You're welcome. All right, let me get to this next question. This one is from Mel Finehope. Mel says, my concern is how to overcome the uncertainty about the current market conditions. I mean, I know how to structure the deals and the basic exit strategies, but feel very unsure about what I'll be able to actually get in the real world in terms of down payment, monthly payment, purchase price, and so forth. Even when wholesaling, I see so many houses listed around Mayo these days that I can't help but wonder, will I get a buyer at Mayo? Mayo is maximum allowable offer. So let me answer this. And by the way, Mel, make your questions a little shorter the next time if you don't mind, because I'm not going to address all of it. First of all, you're never going to feel comfortable about whether you can find a buyer until you get out there and get something sold. I mean, let's face it. You can go to all the seminars you want, but you got to go through the process. If you will let me train you and show you how to make properties easy to sell so they become easy to buy, so they become easy to sell, you'll find they're easy to sell. Now, as far as wholesaling properties go, I suspect that you will have trouble getting investors to pay you Mayo right now. So you better make sure that you buy them well below Mayo so that you can offer them below Mayo, because they can buy them cheaper and they know it. So simple. You buy them so cheap, you can sell them so cheap they can't refuse them. And that's pretty easy to do in our marketplace today. In fact, I'll tell you, I don't know what course you have of mine, Mel, but I can tell you, everyone that's watching this video right now that is not a Gold Club member, you should write down this address, because I'm offering right now my entire foreclosure course, 10 CDs, a two-day event. People paid $2,000 to get to. I write this address down because if you're not a Gold Club member, you can go download my entire foreclosure course for a lousy $59, and join Gold Club while you're at it and get in on all these benefits that we're bringing to Gold Club members. That site is ronsforeclosurecourse.com/free download. Again, Ron's plural foreclosurecourse.com/free download, and you can go download my whole foreclosure course and join the Gold Club if you haven't already. And also, while you're at it, go to thelearningplanet.com. That's Lauren's pet project because she is the director of thelearningplanet.com. That's a reality show where we are working with 3 people to take them through a deal. And you better get there quick because we're about to do another show called Contractor Wars, where I really went into a home with a contractor and we went through it. And at the end, we had this negotiating process where I actually had the contractor, or brought up to the contractor that your price is too high, get it lowered. So you'll enjoy that upcoming episode. And Lauren's also working on some more episodes that we're going to put up on there. And in fact, she's in the show, so you'll get to see her, and you'll also see what's going on in her life and with the other guys as well. So that's it for now. I've got 1 or 2 more questions, but just make sure you stay tuned for the upcoming webinar where I expand on determining the R, and we'll do one of these sessions every single week on a subject. But remember, I'm counting on you now to tell me what you want the lesson to be on. But remember, it must apply to everyone else in our membership, not just you. And by the way, if you haven't gone to Ron's Quick Start, is it Ron's Quick Start? Yeah, Ron's Quick Start. Go there and check out our live event because we got a special working on it right now, and I'm teaching one personally in Fort Lauderdale on February the 10th through the 13th. And if you can't get there live, you can tune in online. So, guys, if you really want to make this your best year, take advantage of all these resources. You've got to be a Gold Club member because we're going to constantly bring you some good stuff. And frankly, I'm not even going to tell you what we got coming here today, but we got some really good stuff coming your way. You're going to like it. You're going to really love it. All right, last question. What is the fastest way to bring in cash using the internet? And this one comes from, golly, sorry, I did not get the name. I don't know who wrote it, but it's a good question. The answer is, if I were you, I would start by becoming an affiliate. There's a whole bunch of affiliate sites like offervault.com that you can go to. Whole list of products. Just get yourself an affiliate link and then go out there and play on social media and drive traffic to that affiliate link, and they send you checks every week for some amount of money just for sending traffic to it. If you want to learn more about that, as you all should, make sure you go to .comsummit.com. because we're going to be starting our event in Dallas this week, at the end of this week, which is the 28th through 29th, 30th in Dallas, and it's also simulcast if you can't get to Dallas. That's my Brock Felton, my friend Brock Felton and myself will be doing that. It's an incredible event. It's cheap too. It's only $99 right now, and that price is going to go up here by the time we do the next one. So if you want to learn how to make money on the internet, .comsummit.com. All right, well that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some good information out of it. I'll see you next week on a subject yet to be determined until you tell me what you want me to teach.